So I was bullied as a kid. Not as badly as some, worse than others. And I remember this one time. A kid kicked my desk into my stomach. By the time the teacher turned around, he was facing forward, pretending to work, and I was doubled over, gasping for air. I lived in fear. For a good part of elementary school and junior high school, I was afraid. I felt powerless. And I hated that feeling. And so I learned power. I learned that my power was in words, and I was good with words. I could out-argue just about anybody, anywhere, anytime. Whether or not I believed what I was arguing, I would argue it, and it was fun. And I won a lot. And I hurt a lot of people. And I lost a lot of friends. So I quit. I wanted to stop hurting people. I wanted to stop losing friends to arguments. I was growing up, I was maturing, and at the same time as I was growing up and maturing, so was the internet. And it was this great place for people who were good with words and kind of sucky at dodgeball to find community, right? But trolls showed up there too. On the internet, we call bullies show up there too, and on the internet, we call them trolls. And that metaphor comes from a Norwegian fairy tale, the Billy Goat's Gruff. And in that fairy tale, a troll controls this bridge. He hides under the bridge, and that's the only way to get to this amazing pasture where there's great grazing, and the billy goats want to graze there because they're goats, and that's what goats want to do. But they can't get there because of the troll. And that metaphor it's so appropriate for these people on the internet because they hide in anonymity behind keyboards, behind screens, and they attack the vulnerable. And they keep us from getting to something that is valuable and good. Because of trolls, a growing number of websites are just shutting off comments altogether. CNN, Reuters, a whole list of them. Because of trolls, The Columbian stopped allowing anonymous comments in 2011. When I talked to the web editor, John Hill, he told me they were spending upwards of 20 hours of moderating time a week just to deal with the trolls. And so they switched to Facebook comments. And that was better. It attached people's names to the comments, but there was still a pervasive level of meanness. So much so that in 2012, a middle schooler in Vancouver, Eden Wormer, took her own life because she was bullied relentlessly online. Psychologists talk about the bystander effect. That's when a whole group of people witnesses something awful and does nothing. And it's not because anybody in that group necessarily wants a bad thing to happen. But everybody has the same thought. Somebody else will do it. Somebody else will say something. Somebody else will step in. But nobody does. And I can't help but wonder how many people watched as I got a desk kicked to the gut. How many people listened as I tore people down with my words? How many people saw Eden's social media? Psychology has an inverse to the bystander effect. It's called the minority influence effect. It's this idea that a small group of people with committed action over a long period of time can change the beliefs and actions of the majority. And we've seen it happen time and time again in U.S. history, in world history. Just one example is the women's suffrage movement. That wasn't the whole nation. It was just a small group of people, but they had a committed message, and they were consistent with that message, and they had that message over a long period of time. And because of those people, that minority, women have the right to vote. And we've seen that happen time and again. The Billy Goats didn't give up. They didn't just say, well, troll, I guess there's no grass for us. They crossed the bridge. They got there. And because it's a fairy tale, they all lived happily ever after. Because it's a Northern European fairy tale, the troll was brutally murdered. So it was about 6 years ago. I got Steve with that one. I like that. It was about 6 years ago. A pastor friend of mine complained to me about social media. I'd given up arguing. I was out. I was done. And he was mad because something I had posted, I think it was about shoes, had gotten dozens of comments. And something that he had posted about religion had gotten almost no comments. And he was like, why are people not commenting on something that is trivial? Or they are commenting on something that's trivial, and they're not commenting on something that to him was really important. And so I made it a quest. Like, I can't give up puzzles. Oh man, it was a puzzle, and I tried to figure it out, and I tried to learn what made people comment, and it morphed into this thing of me trying to learn how to have productive conversations on the internet about important things. And over the last 6 years, that's what I've been doing. I've had conversations about the most contentious topics. You know, politics and religion and sports, you're not supposed to talk about those. And I've had those conversations, and they've been good, and they've been principled, and they've been respectful. And at least one person has had their mind changed by arguments on the internet. So here's what I've learned. First, it's not a fairy tale. We're not going to get rid of trolls. I really wish I had the 3 easy steps to get rid of trolls on the internet. They're not going away. We're not getting rid of trolls. And the steps aren't easy. There's 3 of them, if that helps. The first step is to treat people with respect, online and off. The internet is, thank you. I used to think the internet was a virtual place with virtual people having virtual conversations and virtual consequences. And I learned a very hard lesson. I posted something for a like and a laugh and didn't think twice about it, and it was exactly the wrong thing at exactly the wrong time and hurt the most vulnerable people. And I can't take that back. I can't take back that hurt. And I learned that the internet is filled with real people having real conversations and real consequences. And when we start to treat each other with respect, when we start to treat each other with dignity, and here's the hard part, when we respond with respect even when the trolls come after us, even when they call us names, even when they yell at us, we start to create a minority influence. We start to be the billy goats in response to the trolls, not giving up the goodness of communication online. Because do you realize that we have a medium where anyone, anywhere, anytime can share their thoughts with the world? We also have a medium where anyone, anywhere, anytime can share their thoughts with the world. The second thing I actually learned from a college professor, and he was advice that he gave me about my relationship before I was getting married. And it applies just as much to online conversations. It's seek to understand before you seek to be understood. See, when all of these people have all of these ideas and they're sharing them, everybody wants to be understood. They want their ideas to be heard. And if you're the one hearing, if you're the one listening, if you're the one asking for the best form of their argument, you'll start to create a desire. People want to be heard. People want to know that their ideas matter. And if you're listening with respect, people will come to you with their ideas. And the last thing is to be publicly, willingly, and graciously wrong. Admit when you're wrong. That might be the hardest thing to do, because you'll be called stupid. You'll be called a hypocrite. You'll be called a flip-flopper. But you will start to show that it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to get new information and decide that what you thought in the past is not what you think in the future. Because right now we have the dialogue that is shouting matches. People entrenching, deciding I can't be wrong, and if anybody says that I'm wrong, I'm going to double down. I'm going to change the rules. I'm going to do whatever I can to prove that I'm not wrong. And if we have a minority influence, if we have some billy goats who say, yeah, I was wrong. I made a mistake. The first time it's going to hurt. Even when you type the words, your cheeks will flush and you will feel embarrassed. The second time it gets a little easier, the third time a little easier. It's never easy. And this process won't be easy because there's trolls everywhere. I, in doing research for this, read a lot of comments sections. Whew. They tell you don't read the comment sections for a reason. We need billy goats. We need a minority to go in there with consistent action over a long period of time to change the beliefs and actions of the majority. It won't be easy. And let me give this caution. If you don't have a good support system around you of people who you know love you and care about you, then don't do this because it will hurt. You will be personally and viciously attacked. But if you're able to be a billy goat, to be a part of the minority influence, we can start to affect change. We can start to make the conversation that exists on the internet a discourse, a conversation, instead of shouting matches from one side to the other. I wish I had 3 easy steps. I wish it would happen tomorrow. It's taken me 6 years to just learn this. And I wish I had this rah, we can make it different tomorrow message to close out the evening. I don't. But what I hope that I have is an important message to you that you can make a difference if you're committed. If you're together with a minority that's working towards the same goal. And if you don't give up, because it's easy to give up. It's easy to walk away. It's easy to throw up your hands and not want to do it anymore. Don't give up. Be a billy goat.